My Crazy Ex from Hell, episode 43. This episode is going to be incredibly difficult for me to film, and I honestly wasn't even sure until just now that I was gonna be filming this episode for you guys. The information that I'm about to share with you is information that I have never ever disclosed before on this app. So while you're watching this episode, please try to be mindful that the information that I am sharing with you is deeply personal and it is incredibly difficult for me to share. And the reason why I am choosing to share it is because I think it really puts it into perspective, just the true extent of how cruel Quinoa was being to me throughout the course of our relationship. So first things first, my mom is an addict. She has been addicted to narcotics my entire life. She's been sober for the past 3 years now, which is amazing. I am so proud of her. But for the majority of my life, my mom has been in active addiction, and that has caused my relationship with her to be very tumultuous. We did not have a good relationship for a very long time. And that is mostly because I felt like she was choosing drugs over me my entire life. I felt like I was competing against drugs for my mom's love, and that is not a good feeling. And so anytime that my mom was high, which was a lot, I felt such a deep and awful feeling of betrayal. So whenever I started dating, I made it very clear to any partner that I had that I did not want to be in a relationship with someone who partook in substances, because I don't want to be second best to a substance. I don't want to feel that way in a partnership, okay? I couldn't choose my mom. My mom is an addict. I don't have any control over that, but I do get to control who I choose as a partner. And in my relationship, I don't want to feel second best to a drug or to alcohol, okay? And that might not make sense to a lot of people, and I understand that, but seeing my partner or thinking about my partner being drunk or high gives me the same pit in my stomach that I get when I see my mom high. And it gives me that same anxiety that, like, I'm gonna lose this person to a substance. They're choosing the substance over me. And so my first serious boyfriend in high school, I dated him for 2 years, and he knew everything about my mom and, what I had gone through with her. She was still in active addiction at the time. He saw her high several different times. He saw how it affected me, and he did this behind my back for 9 months of our relationship, and the only reason I found out was because he got in trouble, like, legally. I think he got, like, a DUI or something. And it sucked at the time. I was, like, 16 or 17 years old, and it was very painful. It felt like the end of the world, but it also opened up my eyes a little bit to substances. I had never partaken before in this or this, and I started doing this and this with that partner at the time, and I realized that it could be, like, a fun, easygoing thing. Like, it didn't have to be an addiction anytime somebody partook in these things, right? After that relationship ended, my next relationship was with Eric, my late boyfriend. And I need you guys to understand that I am going to say some things about Eric that I have never disclosed before on here. And I really need everybody to be kind and respectful. I need you to understand that I am talking about a real person whom I love very much, that I lost very tragically. And other people had to grieve him too. Okay, I'm not the only one. And you did not know him. And you are only getting small bits and pieces of the story and small bits and pieces of who he was, and what I am about to tell you does not define him as a person, okay? So when I was with Eric, it became very apparent very quickly that he could not partake in substances in, like, a fun, social way, because he always overdid it. He always did too much, and so I wanted him to stop. I didn't want him to partake in this or this at all. And for a while, Eric was fine with this, right? Like, he had told me that if he had to choose between me or substances, it was an easy choice every single time, and he was gonna choose me. But he was a 21-year-old guy, and asking him to, like, go hang out with his friends and not drink or smoke, it is a hefty ask, right? I knew it was. And I told him that if he didn't want to be with me, he didn't have to. But he still, like, chose me. He made me feel like he was choosing me over substances. But he did it behind my back for months and months and months. And finding out ripped me to shreds. And again, not everybody is gonna understand that, but I felt like I was with my mom. Like, I felt like somebody is choosing substances over me again. Like, I just can't win. Like, what is so great about substances? Why can't anybody just choose me? It felt like getting cheated on, and I know that sounds crazy, but it genuinely did. And listen, I do not want anybody to get it twisted. Eric was an amazing partner. He made me feel loved every single day, and he taught me so much about how I want to be loved and how I want to love other people. Like, being loved by Eric was one of the most amazing feelings in the entire world, and anyone who has been loved by Eric says the same thing, okay? He was truly a light in this world, but he had gone through unspeakable things, and he wanted to escape feeling those things, and he had, at his core, he had an addictive personality, and I couldn't stop that, right? After his mom passed away, things got really bad. His drinking got really bad. I had to beg him to stay sober for even just one night, and even then, on the nights where he would stay sober, he would wait for me to fall asleep, and then he would drink. When I found out that he drowned in a hot tub, of course, my first thought was, oh my god, he was drinking. But that actually wasn't the case. They did an autopsy, and everything came back clear. He didn't have drugs or alcohol in his system. But I found out from his roommate, Carl, that he had been doing whippets in the 2 weeks leading up to him passing. Obviously, when I found out about this, I was devastated. Eric knew to do it behind my back because he knew that that's where I would draw the line. If I found out about it, I would have broken up with him. And I couldn't confront him about it because he was fucking dead. And, there was evidence to suggest that whippets played a part in him drowning that day. And it hurt so fucking bad, dude. Because not only did I feel like the love of my life chose a 30-second high over me, but I felt like he chose that over me and it took his life. He sacrificed an entire life with me for a 30-second high, and it made me feel so worthless and so angry at him. And I couldn't even talk to him about it because he was fucking dead. And it played a massive part in my grief for a very long time because I loved him so much. I would have done anything for him. But I was so angry at him and I felt so betrayed. I also feel like it's important for you guys to know that Quinoa's dad passed away of an overdose, and I think that played a big part in how close we got after Eric's passing as well. I need you guys to know that I'm not angry at Eric anymore, and there was never a time that I was so angry at him that I didn't love him anymore or that I didn't miss him. It was so complicated and complex. It was such an insane thing to be dealing with at 19, to love somebody so fucking much and lose them the way that I did with the past that I have. I did not think I was gonna survive it. I need you guys to know that there are things that Eric went through that I will never talk about on here. He went through things that no one should ever have to go through, and there were just things that he didn't want to feel, and I don't blame him for that. And I know that there's nothing that I could have done to fix it, but I still wish that he was here because he was an amazing person, and I wish that he, got to have the life that he deserved. Once again, please, for the love of God, be respectful. The only reason I'm sharing this information with you guys is because Quinoa used Eric's death against me so much throughout our relationship, and you guys won't understand how devastating and evil it was unless you understand everything that came with that.